It was by chance. It was, mate. To be honest, it was during the lockdowns, and there wasn't much going on show wise. So I got offered an opportunity to fight on a lockdown show back in 2000. 2022, 2020. Sorry. So I had a couple of fights on a couple of lockdown shows, mate. My background's MMA. So it was just have a go at it, really. I never boxed or anything before. Yeah, it was just to have a little taste of it. And then last year, I was fought out in South Africa with my mixed martial arts, and I got offered an opportunity straight after by the Bkfc to fight on the big Wembley show last August, and then I ended up signing with them. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what happened with it. Yeah.
Oh, so you said just there that you had a career in MMA. So what was that like?
So yeah, I started pretty late. I didn't start training in any sort of combat sports until I was 26. Um, it was just I'd always followed mixed martial arts, UFC and stuff, and the earlier days of Pride and that as well. And I just started to keep fit, and obviously because I loved the sport as well. And then I got hooked on it. I trained for 2 years. Didn't have a background in sort of anything at all. I'd been in and out of boxing gyms a couple of times when I was a kid, but nothing serious, mate. Like just going with my mate a couple of times and that. And then yeah, so I was pretty much learning on the job in the amateurs, taking the hardest fights I could get. Um, I had an unbelievable amount of pullouts for fights and stuff. Opponents changes fight weeks and stuff, which wasn't ideal as an amateur, especially when you're as raw as I was with it. No sort of specific skill set in, so I wasn't like trained in jiu-jitsu or Thai boxing or boxing, nothing like that. I was just sort of straight into it. And then I decided to turn pro. Won my pro debut in the first round. Got offered a big fight deal with EFC in South Africa for my second fight, which was mental. So travelled literally to the other side of the world for my second pro fight. That one didn't go my way. Yeah, and then I found myself moving over to the bare knuckle side.
Okay, because in your last fight on the 22nd of April on the Leeds card, you took
I
on
did, mate. Yeah,
I can't remember the guy's first name, but his last name was Morgan, and you stopped him in the
yeah.
second round. Sorry,
Wayne Morgan. Yeah, that's it, mate.
Wait,
Yeah,
Morgan, and you stopped him in the second round. So talk me through that fight.
yeah. So I was originally scheduled to fight a guy called Matt Shipping. I was actually scheduled to fight Matt back on the Newcastle show last November as well. But unfortunately, he pulled out for the Newcastle one due to illness on the weigh-in day. They couldn't get me any sort of late replacement on that one because you got to go through medicals and stuff and blood tests and all that kind of. It was just too late. So I didn't end up fighting. And then I was rescheduled to fight Matt in Leeds. And he pulled out, I think it was 9 or 10 days before the fight with some personal stuff. So yeah, they offered me Wayne Morgan, a Geordie lad. He's got an unlicensed boxing career background. He's been a champion in bare knuckle pits. So he was game. He was a very, very tough fella, game fella. I was a lot bigger than him going in size wise, but I am bigger than a lot of these heavyweights. I'm on the biggest side of the scale for the heavyweight division. So yeah, the fight with Wayne, I stopped him in round two against the steel ropes in the clinch. I just sort of started landing uppercuts and hooks, and there was one final one that dropped him at the end, and it was marked down as a TKO win. So I was very pleased, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the main event for that card was Anthony Holmes versus Danny Christie. Did you catch the main event?
I did, mate. Yeah, the atmosphere in there was electric. I know both lads. I get on with both of them. I've met them at fight shows and stuff. I know Danny a little bit better. I've spoken to him quite a few times, and and been in his presence more than I have with Anthony. But I've got a lot of respect for both of them, and the fight was unbelievable. It lived up to the billing. And yeah, I think everyone in the arena was absolutely buzzing. You could hear it in there. The atmosphere was unbelievable, and yeah, the whole card was amazing, though, pal. Every fight went. From what I saw, after mine was good. There was some cracking fights on. So these shows are getting better and better every time.
Coming up this weekend, we've got Bkfc 41 main event. Mike Perry versus Luke Rockhold. What do you think about that?
Well, first off, mate, it's the biggest one they've done by a mile. The card's stacked. You got obviously Perry, Rockhold, Alvarez, Mendes, Christian Ferreira against Beth Rollins, Big Ben Rothwell against Josh Copeland, and then the undercard stacked as well with some really good bare knuckle talent. Main event, I think Mike Perry. I just think he's built for Bkfc, mate. I think he's a dog. He pressures people. He walks them down. He's relentless. Obviously, I can't really judge Luke on it because this is his first one. Obviously, a highly established UFC fighter, world champion. So it's got all the makings of a cracking fight, mate, and just like the other ones in there as well. I met Mike. He headlined the show in Wembley last year. He fought MVP and beat MVP, and again, MVP is a top name in mixed martial arts. So I'm edging towards Mike Perry for that one. Yeah.
On the undercard for that, we have Chad Mendes versus Eddie Alvarez. How do you see that one going?
I'm 50-50 on that one, mate. I don't know. They're both very explosive fighters, and obviously Eddie Alvarez had slightly might not even be the word. He won world titles for the UFC, won world title in Bellator. I believe he won the ONE FC world title. So he's very established in mixed martial arts. Chad Mendes was at the top as well in the UFC. Both of them fought Conor McGregor. So it's an interesting one, that. I don't know. Obviously, Mendes has fought for the BKFC before and he did very well. But Eddie Alvarez has got that sort of same Mike Perry sort of personality, and he's got that dog in him. So it'd be an interesting one. 50-50 on. I'm not sure how that one will go, mate.
Christine Ferreira versus Beth Rollins for the Women's Flyweight Championship. How do you see that one going?
I think Christine Ferreira wins that. She's the best female fighter in the BKFC. She dominates everyone. I like Beth Rollins a lot as well. But I'm edging towards Christine just because of the way she's put people away in the past. But again, like I said, the other ones, it's going to be a hell of a fight, that as well. I don't think that's getting as much sort of spotlight as it deserves because of the other fights on the card. That would main event any other card. It's a really, really good fight. So yeah, I'm edging towards Christine Ferreira just because of what she's done to opponents in previous fights. I think she's an absolute savage.
Ben Rothwell versus Josh Copeland. How do you see that one playing out?
Got a keen eye on that one, mate. I've been quite vocal about wanting to fight Ben Rothwell. So I believe I am the only guy in the division that matches him for size. And I've put it to my manager, I've put it to the BKFC. They're very well aware that I won that fight. Now, Ben's very established fighter. He's been at the top with the UFC. And I think he was in title contention twice for them. He's had some highlight reel finishes. But he's 1-0 in BKFC. I'm 2-0 in BKFC. So, yeah, I'm very vocal about wanting that fight. Josh Copeland's a very good fighter as well. He's fought for the PFL. I believe he was in the UFC too. I think Ben will win him, stop him. I don't know if it'll be in the first round or second round, but I'm edging towards Ben. And I think if Ben does win, he'll be in title contention. I think they want to push him towards that belt. So, but again, that's good for me. If he goes on and wins that world title, and I win 3 or 4 fights, then they're going to have to listen and sort of get me over there to fight him.
So on to you. Do you know when your next fight is?
Um, I'm having a little break. I'm having a bit of downtime this week. And then I say that I've been back in the gym a couple of times already, but just lifting weights and stuff. Not hitting anything and not sort of doing any sort of combat sports stuff. I've been taking it pretty easy, just a couple of little light sessions. I was thinking about having the whole summer off. So I've had back-to-back fight camps, but I believe Bkfc want me back in August. I don't know where the show is just yet. We're waiting on some information on it. But that's looking likely. They're doing a show in Newcastle in July, but it's going to be the August one for myself, I think. Ideally, I'd like a couple more fights this year, so maybe August and then maybe November time, and that'd fit in perfect for me.
So what would you say your end goal is in BKFC?
World champion. I want to climb the ladder, fight by fight. I'm very young for a heavyweight. I haven't got mileage on me like these other heavyweights because I started training so late. So I see myself doing this for another 10 years. And if I'm fighting 4 times a year, that's 40 fights in bare knuckle. Do you know what I mean? So I've got longevity in the sport. I'm here to work my way to the very top, but I'm not in any sort of rush. I don't want to rush things. I want to take the right fights at the right time for the right money, the right opportunity. And I'm here to grow within the organization. I want to be a part of the organization as it grows. So, yeah, my goal is definitely to be a world champion. And then to defend that title, I want to be successful in defending that title as well. Once you get to that sort of level and you're at the top, you got a target on you. Everyone's wanting to fight you, obviously. So, I just want to become the best version of myself within the BKFC and the best version of myself outside the ring as well. And I feel like this sport will help me grow as a person.
Yeah, 100%, mate. So I'll let you go away now, but thanks so much for taking this interview. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, we'll do it again sometime.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to go on interview with a fellow Scot, mate. So that's awesome, man.